JAX jungle is not a staple pick. It is strong, but it's not something you can pick every game. If the enemy team has a tanky jungler like Maokai, Nautilus, Malphite, you really want to avoid picking a jungler like JAX because they'll just out CC you and out tank you and you'll just become irrelevant throughout the game, especially in the mid and late game. So you're really going to want to look to pick JAX when the enemy team has a squishy jungler. JAX mainly excels in fighting enemy junglers who are squishy and don't have a lot of CC. And once again, who are auto attack based, so picking him against things like Twitch, Xin Zhao, Graves, he's pretty strong. You see Graves picked a lot, and JAX is actually a pretty good counter to that. So if they got stuff like Malphite, Nautilus, and especially as the jungler, like a Malphite or a Maokai, you really want to avoid picking JAX. But other than that, JAX can be a really good pick. JAX has a lot of pros. He has great mobility, damage, and utility with his E, because since he can just block all auto attacks, it's really OP. It makes him an instant tank if you use it properly and in the right situation. If you don't use it too early or too late, he's got easy ganks. He's got solid ganks throughout pretty much every stage of the game, and he has a lot of potential to carry. Also, he has a tremendous ability to split push. He can split push pretty much just as hard as a Master Yi, or maybe harder. It's really hard to tell. They both split push really hard. JAX's main cons are the fact that he's melee. JAX's only cons is the fact that he's melee, and if he doesn't get much gold early game, he's going to take him forever to scale into the late game, because if you fall behind early, you can't afford to get the items that you need and you'll just be shit, since JAX is fairly item reliant. That's not saying that he doesn't scale, it just means that it'll take him a lot longer, because the items that JAX needs to build to be relevant are very expensive. For your masteries on JAX, I suggest running 12 in ferocity and 18 in cunning, taking the Thunderlords down the cunning tree, which is by far the most important keystone you can take on JAX in my opinion. It's going to give you the most damage and most gank pressure in the early, mid, and late game. The only argument you could make for taking Fervor over Thunderlords is if most of the enemy team is melee, so you know you're going to be able to get off constant auto attacks. Otherwise, Fervor really isn't that good in the early game ganks. Thunderlords just scales really hard on JAX through all points of the game. The only other keystone I would consider taking is Strength of the Aegis. I would only do this though if we didn't have a single tank on my team, which would then force me to become the tank. So if we had like 4 squishies and it was just me essentially. For my runes, I like to take 3 attack speed quints, 9 flat attack damage marks, 9 scaling health per level yellows, and 9 scaling magic resist per level blues. Now of course on your seals you could take 9 scaling per level armors if the enemy team has AD, several AD, and same with your glyphs. If the enemy team doesn't have any AP, you can easily get away with running 9 scaling per level cooldown reduction on your glyphs. For your summoners, you're going to take Smite and Ghost. You could potentially take Flash over Ghost. I wouldn't really recommend it. Perhaps if the enemy team has a Yorick or a Jarvan, you might consider taking the Flash over the Ghost since you can just get out of it. But I think Ghost provides a lot more pressure on JAX, because he can essentially just run up to you, start his E, keep auto-attacking you, and if you flash, he can just jump to you, or you could just make up the distance with his Ghost while his E is still on and stun you anyways without having to use his dash yet. Plus, Ghost has half the cooldown of Flash, so you could use Ghost twice for someone using their Flash, so I think it's just really good on JAX. Plus, late game in a team fight, it helps you stay on people because you're just smacking them really fast and you're moving really quick. So overall, I think Ghost is the way to go on JAX, like I said, unless they have a Jarvan or a Yorick. JAX's passive is Relentless Assault. JAX gains 3.5 to 11% attack speed for 2.5 seconds. Every time he lands a basic attack, stacking up to 8 times for a maximum of 28 to 88% attack speed. Each stack falls off one by one. Stacks fall off one at a time every 0.25 seconds after not basic attacking for 2.5 seconds. The attack speed you get is based off of your level, so the higher level you are, the more attack speed you're going to get per auto attack, leading up to the ultimately 88% attack speed at level 16. Which is absolutely crazy when you think about it, because 88% attack speed is insane. That's pretty much 2 attack speed items all on its own, and that's just in JAX's passive. JAX's Q is Leap Strike. When activated, JAX dashes to the target unit or ward. If his target is an enemy, he deals physical damage to them. So basically, you can jump to any enemy, minion, allied champion, enemy ward, or allied ward, and it'll get you out of the situation or into the situation. The key to using JAX's Q is not using it too early. A lot of the times you won't even have to use it because you'll already be in melee range, so you don't want to use it. The problem is if you use it before you even need to, is they could flash after you use it, you hit them and then they flash away or dash or something, and then what are you going to do? You have no gap closer now. So essentially when you come in for a gank, You want to come up behind the enemy so that way they have to run through you to get to their turret. So you're just going to keep auto attacking them while they're trying to get away from you. And then once they flash or once they've cleared distance, made distance between you and them, then you'll use your Q. Also, if you're getting chased, look to jump to an allied minion, enemy minion, or a ward or allied champion typically to get away. Sometimes you can even jump to an enemy champion to get away if that enemy champion doesn't have any CC. JAX's W is in power. When activated, JAX's next basic attack or leap strike within 10 seconds will deal bonus magic damage. It also resets JAX's auto attack timer. So whenever you're using power, typically what you're going to do is jump, or if you're already in melee range, you're just going to auto attack and then immediately click W, and it will reset your timer immediately, and then you'll automatically auto attack again. So just auto attack W and then just keep auto attacking them. It's the best way to get off a lot of damage, because since it will set your auto attack, you can get off a lot more damage than the enemy thinks you will, and you'll be able to burst them down pretty quick. If you're trying to kill an enemy really quickly because they're almost dead and they're a big threat, you should use your W and then jump onto them to kill them instantly, because your W will give you extra damage on your leaping strike. JAX's E is Counter-Strike. This is one of his best spells in my opinion. It's what makes JAX amazing. JAX enters a defensive stance for 2 seconds, causing all basic attacks against him to miss. JAX also takes 25% reduced damage to all area of effect abilities. Most of you probably didn't know that. It's really strong against mages like Ziggs who have a lot of AoE. At the end of the duration, or if Counter-Strike is reactivated, JAX stuns all nearby enemies for 1 whole second and deals physical damage to them. Increased by 20% for each auto attack dodge up to a maximum of 100. So up to a maximum of 100% extra damage, which is quite considerable when you think about it. Counter-Strike is JAX's secure tool. It's how he doesn't die in a team fight. It's how he secures kills in ganks. It's how he keeps people still in ganks. It's just really a amazing ability. It's absolutely fantastic. Whenever you're using it, it's important not to activate it typically before you actually jump on them, because then what will happen is sometimes they'll just walk away from you as you're moving towards them, and then you won't even get a chance to use it. Whenever you're using your E in the team fight, jump in, start attacking them, and once they start aggroing you, then click it and you'll just negate most of their damage, since their auto attacks won't do anything and their AoE spells will do 20% less. But if they are all grouped right on each other, if the enemy teams are just stacking on each other and you know you can get an AoE stun, then you can, as you're in midair, start it and then stun them. But typically you want to let your E go for the maximum duration so you can avoid the most damage possible. When you are in a gank and if you come up behind the enemy, don't jump to them and don't start your E yet. Just run out to them, start auto attacking them, and as they start running away, just keep auto attacking them, and then start up your E animation and just walk along them. If they don't flash, they're going to get stunned, and if they flash, you'll have your jump to them. They'll have to time their flash perfectly to avoid your jump stun. And in that case, you got their flash anyway, so mission success. Whenever you're using your E, you can use it to block all auto attacks and empowered auto attacks. So like a Blitzcrank knockup, if you're going in a gank and you see Blitzcrank's going to knock you up, like if he turns and he goes to auto attack you, click it, you'll block it instantly, and then just do your thing. Same thing with Leona, you can block all of that, and Twisted Fate as well. There's a bunch of other champs that it also applies to, such as Nasus and Renekton. JAX's ultimate is Grandmaster's Might. It has 2 parts to it. The passive part is JAX deals bonus magic damage on every 3rd basic attack within 2.5 seconds. And this is what you see whenever JAX goes boom, 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 and his 3rd auto attack makes a noise, and it does shitloads of damage. Upon activating it, JAX gains bonus armor and magic resist for 8 seconds based off of how much AD he has and how much AP he has. If you use your ultimate when you're not even getting attacked, it's a waste. Typically, you're going to want to use it when you're in the thick of it, right as you go in, right after your E is down. You're going to want to activate it so you'll take as little damage as possible. For your items, you're going to start off with the Machete and Refillable Potion, along with the Warding Totem, which synergizes great with your Q. In the mid-game, you are going to get the Chilling Blood Razor. It works great. And you're also going to get Merc Treads. Merc Treads are ideal on JAX. Since your E blocks auto attacks anyways, Ninja Tabby is kind of wasted. Your core items are really only the Chilling Blood Razor, the Titanic Hydra, and the Trinity Force. They're going to give you the most damage, the most bulk, the most bitch slap, and power. JAX has loads of optional items to choose from, but these are the ones I consider worth mentioning. They're going to give you the most damage, the most bulk, and they're going to synergize with your kit the best. Versus an AD team, these are the items I suggest, and versus an AD team, these are the items I suggest. As you can see, I only did pick 5 items, 3 of them being the core items I previously listed. But I did leave a space open for a 6th item, and I would suggest you choose from the optional items down below. The reason I didn't put a 6th item in there is because I didn't want to, I felt too constrained doing it. I didn't want to have a 6th item because JAX is such a situational champion. Depending on what your team has and depending on what the enemy team builds, you're going to want to have a different 6th item just depending on what's going on. So I didn't want to just put in an item and be like, okay, pick this one for your 6th one. And of course, if the enemy team is really far on the pendulum, whether it be all AD or all AP, you might want to switch up an item. Say every single one of them was AD, well then I might want to get a Dead Man's Plate as well, or a Thorn Mail, or something to give you that extra bulk versus an AD team. Versus an AP team, it's the same thing. If every single enemy is an AP, besides getting the Maw, you might want to get a Spirit Visage or a Banshee's Veil, or it just depends. So just start wherever your bot is. Hopefully you'll be blue side so you can get the Krug buff, so you can just clear really easily and get lots of stuns since you have loads of auto attacks. But like I said, just start bot lane, work your way up. Typically you can only clear 3 camps on JAX before you're pretty low on health in your first clear. So after your first 3 camps, whether it be Krugs, Red, and Raptors, or Gromp, Blue, and Wolves, you're pretty much just going to go for a gank and then do Scuttle Crab. So when you go for your gank, it's usually going to be on mid lane. So gank, then Scuttle, or Scuttle, then mid lane. If you're too low on health, it's fine to just go home. Typically, if you do start on red side, after you do the Gromp and the blue buff, you don't really have enough health to do Wolves, but it is easier for you to go skip Wolves and go straight to your Raptors. You can just start attacking the Raptors, hit your E, and then just kill all the little ones first. Whenever you are clearing a camp on JAX, auto attack it before you actually hit your E, because the monsters have a delay before they'll attack you. So auto attack them, and right as you're starting your second auto attack, hit your E. Right as you hit it, the monsters will all lane to your E, and then it will do even more damage whenever you hit them because they're going to hit you again. So it sounds kind of goofy or complicated, but it's really not. So just auto attack, then activate your E for maximum damage and sustain in the jungle. And whenever you are attacking the monsters in the jungle, auto attack W. Auto attack W. It'll get you faster clears. Don't forget to hit your E whenever it's up. And when you first start the camp, auto attack, then E. Very simple stuff. Once you are level 6, your clears are going to be much faster. You can counter jungle pretty easily, especially if the enemy jungler is squishy. Whenever you're playing JAX, keep an eye out for low mobility laners who don't have dashes. So if it's like a brand mid, that's going to be a pretty easy gank. You're just going to run up stun. Same thing with like a Darius top. It's usually a pretty easy gank because you can just stun him and fuck him. Once again, same thing with bot lane. If it's immobile, look to gank them. If you get a kill on an enemy laner, especially mid or bot lane, that's a good time to go do Dragon since you can pretty much take it for free. You guys should be able to pick it up and it'll help you a lot in the mid and late game. Once it does hit mid and late game, you have to decide whether your team's better at team fights or not, especially if the enemy team has a lot of CC and you don't think you can win a team fight. It's actually better to split pushes JAX because it'll take at least 2 enemies to come kill you, since you can pretty much 1v1 anybody. Not to mention, if they don't send anybody, you can take down turrets pretty much instantly. That's gonna about wrap up this JAX guide. I hope it was informational. If you guys did enjoy this video, leave me a thumbs up, and if you didn't, go ahead and leave a thumbs down and tell me what I should improve on in the comments below. Any constructive criticism is appreciated, even if it is a little bit on the mean side. I can take it. Also, I just wanted to say, guys, thank you so much for all the support. I stopped making videos for about a 2-month period here. I released a video a couple days ago, but before that was about a 2-month gap. And when I came back, I was really nervous because I thought I was going to get a lot of hate for just quitting. And I thought I was going to get just dislikes and mean comments, but you guys showed a lot of support, and I can't thank you enough, because honestly, if I got a bunch of hate, I probably would have just quit altogether. So thank you so much for all your support. I can't thank you guys enough. Thanks for watching, guys, and have a great day.